Now, let's talk hospitals, shall we? And Tembisa hospital officials implicated in fraud and corruption remain on precautionary suspension. Now, here's the problem. It's nearly a year since whistleblower Babita Deokaran was assassinated. And to remind you, she had flagged irregular tenders worth over 850 million rand at the hospital. The suspended officials include the Gauteng Health CFO and the hospital CEO. Let's find out what's the next steps with Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi joining us this morning. Premier, good morning to you, and thanks very much indeed for your time. I certainly hope you can hear me, Premier. It's been a year now. Are you happy with the progress that's been made? We still have people on suspension, but I don't feel like this is being dealt with fast enough. What's your take on this?
Thank you so much, Gareth. Good morning, and good morning to your viewers. Obviously, we'll be disappointed that the wheels of justice are grinding slowly. But we live in a constitutional state where those that are accused have rights, and amongst those particular rights is to request either postponement or change their legal representatives or request some documents that need to be presented to them before the hearings. But we are where we are now, quite relieved that the SIU has concluded their investigations. They've handed over the report. I released that report officially, I think, around December, and then we've instituted disciplinary hearings. Because our case is watertight, of the 9 that were cited in the report, 3 decided either to resign or they've requested to be moved to another workplace, and another person, unfortunately, have reached the retirement age, and we're trying to manage that aspect. But the remaining 6, we are putting all the necessary tools in place to ensure that the hearings are fast-tracked and finalized.
And do you have an idea of how the hospital is being run now? Because those suspended are very high-ranking officials, essentially overseeing how the hospital was being run. Who's looking after the hospital now, and how do you know that they're doing a better job than their predecessors?
Well, obviously, when we have a case of this magnitude, a high-profile case like this, we have to put the necessary backup systems. When I had the honor to appoint the UMEC to be responsible for health in our province, high on the agenda was this matter, to ensure that all matters within Tembisa Hospital are attended to, not only the supply chain management, but also the services that need to be rendered at that hospital. So we've got an acting hospital CEO. We also have people that have been appointed to strengthen that hospital, and that hospital will remain under our radar literally every week. I know the MEC meets with the CEOs of hospitals and the CFOs of hospitals so that we can track expenditure patterns, and we can flag expenditures that we think are out of the ordinary.
Beyond waiting on the recommendations now, which, as you say, are in the report, what has been implemented, Premier, in the meantime to stop what we've seen at Tembisa Hospital these past few years? What have you personally seen being put into place to try and rectify the problem?
Well, first, obviously, is that the disciplinary hearing, we believe, is a minor process. The bigger process is to get the culprit arrested, is to get the culprit's assets frozen, is also to get the culprits to appear before a judge. We really believe that's the bigger responsibility that we need to usher in. And what we've done, we've now personally signed a request from the SIU for the president to pass a proclamation that will allow many other things to happen. And the Department of Constitutional Justice Development, my Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, formally informed me that they've signed those papers, awaiting the president to sign. I think if we get that, Gareth, I think that would be the best outcome and honor to the late whistleblower, so that we can conclude this matter as quickly as possible. Because if it goes to court and given the necessary support in terms of the constitutional mandate that we have, things will move with the necessary speed. But this matter is within our radar. Whatever that we need to do as a provincial government, we'll continue to do Whatever that needs to be done by the hospital, we also continue to do that. But we really believe we need that firepower from the proclamation to allow this matter to be finalized.
Tragically, the country lost Babita Deokaran in this hit because of the whistleblowing, in this case, Premier. The witnesses involved that are probably going to form part of these disciplinary proceedings, obviously witnesses will need to give statements, etc. Knowing what happened to Babita Deokaran, how do you guarantee their safety? Because you'll need statements, you'll need witnesses, you'll need information, but people might be too scared to come forward. How do you guarantee their protection?
Maybe let me start by thanking those witnesses, because thus far they've been cooperating with us, and that's the reason why we've got a watertight disciplinary case unfolding. But when you deal with these matters of this magnitude, you need to continue to provide support, because situations can change anytime. As you have alluded, people might be scared and people know what happened, so they might want to change their views. But thus far, we've got the necessary cooperation, and we're quite convinced that those that are within our witness list will get the necessary support, guidance, counsel and support so that they can take us through this unfortunate case.
Then for the moment, Premier, thank you very much indeed. I know it's still being studied at the moment and a lot of answers still needed in this. But Premier Panyaza Lesufi just giving us an update on where they are as far as these investigations into those senior officials at Tembisa Hospital who were suspended as a result of accusations of fraud and also tender malpractice.